And welcome back to Leo Gaming, guys. How we doing? Yes, today we will be having a talk about how is Assassin's Creed Odyssey in 2021. Is it better than Valhalla and Origins and the previous Assassin's Creed games before that? Does it hold up? I have been playing it recently purely because of the it's been optimised for the Series X, and oh my god, does it look absolutely fantastic. So guys, come join me to see if we can answer that vital question: is Assassin's Creed Odyssey better in 2021? Let's find out. So, how does Assassin's Creed Odyssey fare in 2021? Well, going by that cutscene, you would imagine that is a game that's just recently been released. It is still so crystal clear and being optimised now for the Series X, where it's got Auto HDR and the FPS Boost. It really does look stunning. It's just made that game look absolutely beautiful. But going by that cutscene, one thing I do notice is the gore factor. The gore factor has Ubisoft definitely pumped up the gore factor in the more modern games from previously. I mean, the previous ones you had the sort of stealth kills and assassinations, but there wasn't much blood. Whereas these ones, they've really bumped them up. But I think that's because because the games are now more based around war. See, that's what I think the difference is between the modern ones and the old ones. Is the old ones were based around sort of events, whereas these ones are based around, the modern ones are based around wars, full-blown battles that are going off, which I think is a major difference, which is why you get the sort of gore factor. They had to really to sort of emphasise how bad war actually is. I mean, one of the parts of that cutscene which I didn't show was the Sparta leader. He's doing a little speech, and then he starts talking to the traitor they've captured after that battle. And as the traitor starts speaking, he just shoves the spear in his gob. I mean, I remember when I first played it, it was a bit like, whoa. Even now, like replaying it again today, it's I was just like, whoa, I forgot about that. But anyway, guys, so I first played Assassin's Creed Origins. I first played Assassin's Creed Odyssey when it first come out, but I will be honest with you, when I didn't even get nowhere near past. I basically completed Kefalonia, got off Kefalonia, went across, and I got to the point last time where you meet the Sparta leader and he finds out you're his son or daughter. That's the point I got to last time, and I just sort of give in because I was a bit like, I think I just recently finished Origins, and it was just a bit tiresome looking at the size of the map on Odyssey. That was a major turn off for me. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's a turn off also. You look at the size of the map and you think, oh, because you know what Ubisoft do, it's very sort of, especially for me, because I'm one of these sort of players that I will try and do every quest, every side mission, every event. I will try and do it, which can be detrimental to me finishing the game sometimes. Because I'm trying to do everything, I can get bored quickly. And I think that's what I did with Odyssey. I was just trying to, I was doing Kefalonia, doing all the side missions, and then got over to the other side, see the size of the map, and I was like, oh, and I just didn't play it. So I picked it up, I've sort of downloaded it again, because of the optimization, and I'll be honest, I'm doing it slightly different this time. I'm going to just take my time rather than trying to rush through the story. See, previously I was trying to get through the story, get everything done as quick as possible, but now I'm just sort of slowly taking my time because the enhancements. I'm just going to take my time, and that's what I've been doing. And I will say that this game, I'm just hoping they actually do the enhancements for Origins personally. Because I did originally, I'd rather than done it for Origins to start with, because I wanted to play Origins and then Odyssey, but obviously I've done Odyssey first. So, but replaying this game again, in 2021, and it is fantastic. This game is probably, I would say, better than Valhalla. See, because I didn't fully play this and then I moved on to Valhalla, I thought Valhalla was brilliant, but I think I was more wowed by the graphics. But going back to Odyssey and playing this now, the graphics are absolutely sublime, the story's engaging, just the environment itself is so fun to explore. There is always something going on. The NPCs are always busy doing something. They look like they're living their lives, which they do on these modern ones. They have their own algorithms and where they sort of, presets where they live like a sort of day-night cycle, go to work, go home, go to bed at night. And it's just, the game this second time around is just such a much better experience, I think, where I've calmed myself down a bit.
It's burning! God, help me!
So what makes this one different from Valhalla and Origins and the previous ones? Well, the first thing you notice on this one, obviously, is you get the dialogue options. Origins you don't, in the previous Assassin's Creed you don't. Valhalla you do, but there's a slight difference with Odyssey. Is what they've done is they've added, you've got the dialogue options like an RPG, but what they've also done is they've given you a way to influence the people you're talking to. For example, you can start to woo. If you're talking to a lady, you can start to woo the lady. Obviously, if you're Cassandra, then you can do it the other way around. But if you're Alexios, then you can woo the lady or an influence. Everything has a slightly different. You've got the normal responses, but then you've got an influence answer and choices which can influence the outcome of the game, which is far better. See, Origins is the origin story. It talks about and establishes the fact that the Order of Assassins, I'm going to call it, was started by Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins. And you obviously get the massive, the really immersive storyline of how it all began, and the first moment he whopped his finger off to become an assassin. So it sort of, and then it got the massive open world of Egypt. Now, Ubisoft to try and, because obviously in Odyssey you've got the massive open world again. Fair enough. Okay, we've got the open world again. We've got the massive exploration, the immersive storyline, but you haven't got the added benefit of it being an origin story now. So you've got to try and somehow make it immersive and add features to it, which Origins didn't need. For example, like the Origins didn't need the dialogue options. Origins didn't need. Origins didn't need the sort of the fact that you can use a male or female. It would have been good though, because you could have played as Aya. I mean, you do play some bits as Aya, but it would have been nice to be able to choose, and it were completely different storylines. And you sort of, but from the start of Odyssey, you get to choose either male or female, which obviously they needed to bring that along because there's no origin stories. Obviously, this is about the battle between the Athenians and Sparta, which obviously we've all seen 300, and they had to bring something different. I think the dialogue options and the choice of playing the male or female from the beginning was their way of sort of engaging you into the game for what that doesn't have, that Origins does, which is the origin story itself. And I also believe that, I think that the story itself is a great historic point. See, what I do like about these modern games, Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla, is the fact that they are exploring history. I just find these games so great to sort of learn about the history. I mean, one thing I do point out with these modern ones, which I wish they did, see, in the previous ones, when you come across a historic site, you instantly get the historic description about it in the main menu, in the database. Whereas these modern ones, they don't do that. Obviously, to counteract that, they've included discovery tours, which, don't get me wrong, are absolutely fantastic. If you've got kids, this is why I think these games are good for kids, the modern ones, because the discovery tours allow you to even, show your kids, because obviously they don't have the violence in them. It's just the world itself, and you can go and learn about all the different parts of of the environments, different buildings, the different historic sites, and I think that the Discovery Tours was such a genius idea, because you can then say to your kids, like, go on, play that, put the Discovery Tour mode on, and run around and have a read and a bit of homework. Now, if kids got homework on Egypt or Greece, bang, stick Assassin's Creed on, have a look. Copy down word for word exactly what it's now, joking. But this, you see what I mean? It's a good platform for learning as well. And I think that was actually a genius idea from Ubisoft to do that. That was such a brilliant idea, because I've let my son sort of run around on the Discovery Tour where you get no violence and just sort of let him listen to what this, what the narrator says and stuff like that. It's such a fantastic idea. So like I say, and with the difference between Odyssey and Valhalla is Valhalla then took away those. You've still got the dialogue options, but you haven't got so much of the influence ones. And for some reason, now I'm playing Odyssey again, Valhalla doesn't feel as good. The world is good, and I think because it's based in England a lot, and I'm from, obviously being from England, I just thought, hey, yeah, at last a game in England. Because obviously, so a lot of these open world games like GTA, I still want GTA to go back to London. It's really bugging me that. I mean, I know Rockstar turned around and it just baffles me though, because Rockstar originated in Scotland. Why the hell don't they do? I mean, don't get me wrong, GTA is a good game, but the American theming is getting boring, because most games are based in sort of an American city. You got Watch Dogs. Obviously not the latest one, but the previous two, Watch Dogs, GTA, Saints Row, it's always on this American culture. I think GTA need to bring back GTA London and reimagine that in 3D again. That would be fantastic. But anyway, I've gone off subject there. So I think, Valhalla took that away, and I think that's what sort of blinded me with Valhalla. I look at the story in Valhalla, and the story in Valhalla is not actually that great compared to Odyssey. Odyssey does have a much more immersive story. It feels like it feels more emotional. It felt more emotional anyway with Odyssey, whereas Valhalla, it didn't resonate with me with that story. Yes, it's a sad story of the boy loses his parents, this, that, and the other, but there was something about Odyssey's his dad his so-called dad throwing him off the cliff, which is obviously, that's something you could sit there and think, God, imagine if your own dad actually threw you off a cliff like that because some person said so. The feelings he must be feeling, and then to find out that that's not his real dad, that felt more engaging. There was more plot twists to it, whereas Valhalla, I don't feel that, and I think I was blinded with Valhalla in terms of the graphics, basically, because it was on the Series X. I was like, yes, this is brilliant. This is the best game. Nothing will ever come close to. Well, it could do, but nothing would never come close for me as Black Flag. Black Flag is still my number one game, and I really wish they would enhance that, remaster it, because that would look so good. But yeah, Black Flag is still the number one game for me. But what I am going to play after Odyssey is Unity. So we'll see about that, Unity. I think that's actually, I've watched a few videos on it, and apparently it's quite good. So anyway, moving on. So the actual, and also with Odyssey, the actual side quests engage you more with the main storyline. And it actually engages you with the environment. Like one of the first ones is with Odessa, where she's, the first lady I wooed in it. But Odessa, and she's like got some historic blood relation to some historic figure. And then you've got to help her because the local sort of leader is trying to take her land, and she, you got to go along the lines of the leader is trying to take her land. You've got to try and kill anyway. So it sort of leads itself into it. And there was another one where you got Elpenor who tricks you into trying to kill your dad, and then you do a side mission, but that side mission leads directly into the main mission, and that's what I love, is when everything interlinks. Origins didn't have that. The side quests felt very disengaged from the main world, and they just felt like completely separate things. I prefer when side quests engage you with, it leads into a main quest, where there's an interlink there, and I just felt that that's what Odyssey did really, really well, which kept me engaged in the world. So would I say Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the best one out of the lot? I would say there's two answers to that question. You see, what you've got to remember is when Assassin's Creed first started, it was an open world, but it was a much more linear controlled open world. And they continued with that right up until Syndicate. Where it's an open world, Unity and Syndicate more open, the same as Black Flag, but the story was a lot more linear, less side quests, less, shall we say. But I do find that it's a balance of, I think, within the modern. I do think the Assassin's Creed series, when it came to Origins, needed a break away from that more linear story. I think the failings they had with Unity, Syndicate weren't exactly brilliant. It was the same as Unity, but it was just an improved version in London. I think where they failed with them two, I think they needed a new direction. And I think the way the gaming world was going was all about open worlds. I think Ubisoft did take Assassin's Creed in the right direction. They may have moved off of sort of the assassin story and more onto the sort of lore and history of that particular environment, but I do think they needed to take a step away, take it in a different direction, which I think was a great idea. I am honestly glad they went down the Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla route, because I just think it needed to change direction. There was nothing they could add, in my eyes, to the format they had previously, apart from a different assassin's story. I just think the way they went was the correct way, which then opens. See, what that does is that opens it up to then go back to that, because then people miss that. The problem is when you continue with the same format for years, it can become monotonous and boring. And all you're changing up is the story, adding a few features, where if you completely change the direction of it for a while, that old format then looks more appealing. So I do think they made the correct choice to go in that more massive open world path for Assassin's Creed. And I believe that Odyssey was the best from Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla. I would say Odyssey is definitely the best out of them all. With regards to the previous ones, I would say it's difficult. In terms of modern gaming, I would say Odyssey is the best out of all of them. But in terms of storytelling and really drawing you into the characters, to me, it's Assassin's Creed 2 with Ezio and Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Edward Kenway. So it's a very difficult comparison to make. I think Odyssey is the best for the time period. Assassin's Creed 2 and Black Flag were the best for that time period. So in terms of that question, like I said, there was two parts. There was two answers to that question. It's the best within the modern trilogy, shall we call it, the modern trilogy. But it's equal to that in terms of Assassin's Creed 2 and Black Flag. But Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Assassin's Creed 2 are the best of their time period. You see, if you played it, I've recently played Assassin's Creed 2 recently, and apart from the story, it's crap. You play it now, it's crap. This is why I'm just being brutally honest. It is crap now, apart from the story. The story is the only decent thing about it, because the mechanics work for the time. With the modern ones, you know, they've got different mechanics, more modernised mechanics. So, guys, there is my answers. It's the best in terms of in terms of mechanics with all the games, but storytelling still is Black Flag and Assassin's Creed 2 are the best. So it's not really outright best. I wouldn't really say it's the outright best Odyssey, but it is definitely up there with Black Flag and Assassin's Creed 2. So, guys, there is my opinions on Assassin's Creed Odyssey in 2021. Just don't forget, if you do like my content, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button up on the screen right now. Although you don't click the screen, guys, you click on the little button below. And also click that notification bell. Let me know if you agree with me or if you disagree with me. I've tried to come at this. See, I used to have a much more strong opinion, like, no, Black Flag's the best, that is it. But now this time I've tried to come up with more of a bit of an approach that's more neutral in terms of the games and realistic, not just fanboying any particular one of them or any particular format of the game. So yes, that is it, guys. That is the end of this video. Like I said, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I hope you all have a nice day, week, evening, month, or even your year. And I'll be there for you. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.